Hi there, this is Joe from Naturally Rooted Growers. In this video I'm going to show some of the cable caddies I've made and a new one I'm going to make because I'm tired of carrying around this very heavy spool, so I'm going to put some wheels on that one. But the one I've been using is this one. It's just a 1.5 inch pipe with a coupler on the bottom, and this does nothing really, but I figured I'd put it there to help stabilize whatever was on there. Originally I made this because this was the size of our drop cable for the fiber, but then they switched to a bigger spool. That's why it's so small, but it works fine. And this is the MST rig I'm going to fix. But I don't want to waste any of this wood, so I need some bigger circles cut out to make the wheeled caddy. Alright, so put that one on hold now. Whatever I cut out of these two big wheels, I'll be able to put on here. So my wheel needs to be just a little bit bigger than my spool. Spool's 21 inches. But 21.5 looks good. Where my circles, I need to find out where my circle's gonna be. And you can usually just pound the nail right in the middle of your circle, tie it to a pencil, then it'll spin your circle perfectly. I had this laying around from the last time I did this, because I didn't use the string. I put two dowel rods together, pounded the nail in the end of one, and ground off the nail to make it pointy. And just tape the pencil on the other end. Put a screw through here so I can tighten it. How big do I want it? Somewhere in there. I guess 21.5 divided by 2. 1.5 10.75. 10 3/4. As long as these two sides stay on the board. No. Next. Not so much edge. That's closer. Oops. 5/8. Just under 5/8 gap. Yeah, I'm happy with that. There's one. Possibly have two circles that are close in size. There we go. Alright. So now I'm going to chop the circle I need for this one. This is my other caddy. It's falling apart here. The wood ripped through here, so I just need another piece for that one. Which I guess the diameter on this one was 12.5. And I can keep this one. I just need a new one of these. I'm going to do one of these again. So it looks like it's somewhere in there. Maybe a little bit bigger. That circle came out a little better, I think. 15 3/8, 15 3/8, 15. Well, we can get close. Even if it was 15 1/4, 15 and 25 divided by 2, 7.625. So 7 point, just over half. 7 5/8, I guess. 7 5/8. 7 5/8. 7 5/8. All these points are going to come to the point, which is the exact center. Put the lines together that are supposed to be together. That one. That one. That one. Wherever they all cross, that's dead center. Alright, so I need a hole big enough, which was this size. And I think I cut it out because I didn't have one that was exactly the right size. What size do I have here? Oh. Yeah, I was going to try this 2 1/8 to get in a 1.5 inch coupler. I will have to chop some of it off with the router. Not the router, but the router would be better, but I'm going to use a jigsaw. Put the drill bit right in the center. Okay, yep, doesn't fit. Not a problem. So I will jigsaw it out a little bit. And once I got it inside, I just shot screws from the bottom out the sides to keep it put. I guess you could put some construction glue around here. Maybe that would help seal it too. Maybe I'll put silicone on mine this time. Might help if I'm actually pointing at what I'm doing. Alright. Alright, so this is where we would be with no screws. And there's no glue holding this pipe and this coupler. It fell out a few times, but eventually the dirt went in there and it's stuck now. I mean, there would be no harm in gluing it. So I just got to make it a little bit bigger. Maybe a little more. Well, maybe I should just draw a line on there. Wouldn't that help? Let's use some brains. Almost. That's pretty well flat now. All right, that'll work. So yeah, that hole was 2 1/8. And then jigsaw it out. Now to get your plate. Just gotta keep spinning the screw around until, or the hole, until you get all your screws out. Or in your case, I guess. Got so much grease in here. Should be one here. There you go. Yeah, just 4 screws. Put that on there somewhere where you think it's in the middle. These screws don't look too bad. I'm going to just use them again. My MST one's probably that big, and you could get one of these. This is a 12-inch. This must be 8, 6. I guess it'd probably tell me here. Well, that's a 10, or what the heck is this? That's 9-inch, I guess. And yeah, that one is a 12-inch. Lazy Susan. Okay, center it up. Looks pretty center. I guess you could always measure. What is that, 1 1/4? 1, not quite 1 1/4. 1 1/8. 8. 8. All right, that must be it. The screw was on there, that's why I couldn't find it. Right, that one's on there. Find the next one. Oh, actually that hole's smaller yet. That might be the one I was looking for. That hole's maybe the right one too. Yeah, there's a hole there, I think. Another small hole. You could always drill a new hole out too, it doesn't really matter. Make your own hole. So that would work as is, but I'm not sure why I cut something to lay on there. Maybe so it'll spin and the bearings will spin and whatever's the loosest will spin. Pipe is probably 15 inches long. Drilled a hole straight through here to tie a string on it to carry it. You could put a handle on it that pops off and then put a bolt through it to take the handle on and off. But I didn't want to deal with that. So that's the Caddy I've been using. So you would need a board at least 16 inches. However thick, thicker the better, obviously. 1.5 inch coupler, 16 inch, 1.5 inch pipe. 4 screws, 12 inch Lazy Susan would probably be best. And maybe another board if you want this on top of it. Alright, moving on. Fixing the Lazy Susan. Or, I mean the MST. Fixing the MST. This is my MST rig that fell apart. The bearings are still coming out of it. Before I move on to that, I need to put these screws in. Now that one's done. Alright, so I started with a bottom plate, which I guess is 20.5 diameter. Yep. And I guess the hole would not matter at all. You don't have to put a hole in this thing. This must have been something from another project I had. But the hole over here you'll need. But you won't know that hole until you put this on. That hole needs to line up with this hole. Find the center. Well, yeah, make your marks, find your center. Measure where it's going to be sitting. 2.5, 2.5, 2.5. I can kind of go off my other holes. Screw down the inside plate. Find my hole, there it is. Now that you know where that, well, once you put the plate on, now you got to drill. Line up this outer hole and make a small hole, and then on the other side you make a big hole. Well, it's just easier to get your drill. I mean, you can make this hole as big as you want. As far as the top, I made it 25.5 inches. And I would say I laid this on here first. Started making my marks to put 4 bolts through. Marked them, drilled them out, and then pounded carriage bolts through. And I think I put red around here so I could find these easier when I put the top on. Well, once I redid it again, I had to find them. The first time, yeah, you won't need to locate. But if you take it apart and put it back together, it's easier to locate those. Through that hole here, we have to find those spots and screw through that hole, to get to here. Alright. But yeah, I think these are 6 inch, 5/8, 3/8. But yeah, they're 6 inches long. Maybe 7. And you can go as long as you want. Put that down and start finding these holes. First of all, I need to line up a small hole. That's where I'm going to be putting it. Putting this, yeah, screw through here, through that, into here. And this will be pinched to that. But if this is your first time, yeah, you wouldn't have to find the existing holes, or I can just make new holes now. It really doesn't matter. Wherever you feel it's lined up. Measurements again, 2.5. Not 2.5. Too much. 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, off a little, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, somewhat two, not 2.5, but it's not quite round here. 2.5, good, good. I'm just going to call that good. So, all the way through this hole to the metal, through the metal hole. Spin it to the next usable hole, through the metal. Right there, so skip that one and use that one. That lazy Susan isn't doing too good, but it's what I have on hand. These MSTs come in 250, well for us anyway, they come in at 250, 400, 500, 750, and a 1000. This one's a 400 foot. And yeah, once that's on there, you just snip all your stuff. And as far as the top goes, I'm sure you got cardboard laying around somewhere. That'll keep it from flipping up, over, and out like the other half of the spool, basically. And now you can pull your MST wire without it tangling. Just set it down and walk away from it. I mean, the 250s aren't that bad, but over 250, it's a tangling mess. So that's how you make that one, or that's how it's gonna look. All right, final one is gonna have wheels. Because a lot of my aerials are down the road, 5-6 poles, and I've been kicking it down the road. So now I'm gonna just pull it down the road. I used to do this when I worked for Spectrum with the RG11 cable. Find my center. And it is 22 inches wide. Roughly. Yeah, this one I went out on the outer edge just a little bit. I probably could clean that up, but I'm not worried about it. 22 would be 11, so 11, turn it a little bit, 11, turn it a little bit, 11, right down, so 11, okay. Yeah, that must be it. That'll work. Okay. Made a hole in both, so that's my centers. Use a 2-inch now, and it should let the 1.5-inch PVC come right in, because PVC is measured by the inside diameter, the ID, and the OD on these are about 2. So yeah, it looks like it goes kind of deep. It will go in this elbow 1 inch deep. Whatever we got here, we got to add 2 inches. Is at basically 10.5, so I need to be at 12.5. Right there's 12.5. You got plenty of wobble. Ain't going nowhere though. So on that one, I probably will sand. I'll sand some of this off so it slips on easier, and I can put a bolt through it to keep it in place, so I can easily take it off. Another 12.5 here for the top of the handle where I'm going to be grabbing it. So One side can go in all the way. Now I just have to do a test to see how long is my handle. Yeah, at least somewhere in there. See how long that is. Yeah, I'll go with 20, try it out. Yeah, that feels good to me. Slam those on tight. And the ones that are loose, which will be, yeah, so that will be permanent. That one will be permanent. Which I won't use any glue though, they're gonna stay put. Chop factory outcoming and everything else here. Now that we got this on here, you may have to grind that down a little more, but you can just always slap it off. Or just not put on so hard. So, and I might make a holder for this. As you can see, it doesn't unwind itself, not of yet. But if I have to, I don't know, maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure how it's going to unravel. I'm going to go take it for a run in the yard. Yeah, it's trying to whip. So maybe if I tape it. If you're trying to just leave it on the ground and walk away, if you're behind a telephone pole, you can put this part in front of the telephone pole, or put a couple screwdrivers in here, something to stake it, and then you can just pull it. And it pulls really easy. Almost pulls as easy as the bearings.